Good evening and welcome to the August 18th meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Flossmoor. The time is 7:01. Clerk Porter, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Daggett.
Here.
Trustee Dorsey.
Here.
Trustee Balkin.
Here.
Trustee Madros.
Here.
Trustee Mustafa.
Here.
Trustee Rogers.
Here.
And Mayor Nelson.
Present. Thank you so much. We have a quorum. Just a couple of quick reminders. This meeting is being streamed via Zoom for the convenience of those who are unable to make it in person tonight. I have one person who signed up to speak to address the board, and that's Adolphus Kendall. Welcome. Yeah. You're up.
It will be quick, and I want to thank everyone for being here, and it's an honor to work with this board. We've had such a great relationship working together, and we've accomplished a lot in the South Suburban area. I have a couple of quick announcements, one of which is for your annual screenings. For those across Cook County, under the leadership of the trustees and the commissioners and Bill Lowry and the president, in the month of your birthday, breast cancer and prostate, you can get free screenings for those across Cook County. You just need to call Cook County, schedule it, and they will have you in. So that is like the gift of life that they are trying to award and to share with people across Cook County, to make sure that you take advantage of that. Bill Lowry, he had a scare with prostate cancer, survived, but from that he had that inspiration, and the entire board has passed that resolution, made those funds available. Invest in Cook. We invested another $8 million in Invest in Cook across Cook County, in which your municipality had participated before, and the South Suburban area has part of the longest commute to go for work across Cook County as part of the disparities in our economic development. So in trying to avoid that, we've invested a lot of dollars in research, a lot of dollars into improving our roads and roads and transportation across Cook County. So that would be either with our CREATE project or our various county roads, and in working in collaboration with the federal government to assist others. Also, right now we've launched a campaign around measles across Cook County. And the theme is, one of the themes is, of course, measles anywhere is a threat everywhere. And so I want to make sure that we remind people to get their measles vaccinations in the schools and at home. Then lastly, we started a project Rainbow, which is a project to try and help with literacy and getting kids involved with books. And so in that, there's a contest for those who want to get our kids involved in doing bookmarks. People who have bookmarks tend to read. And so those who are interested in the bookmark contest, our kids across Cook County, Park District libraries, a consortium of organizations are coming together like Brookfield Zoo, Field Museum, and others, and created this Project Rainbow, which is subject matter experts. And they created little portals where there's educational materials there. And in that, they are the ones who are sponsoring this bookmark contest. And the awardees will get Kindles and some other goodies. So I will send all these announcements to the president, to his president, that can share it out to others across Cook County. So those are some of our announcements, and I've not been in a while, so I at least wanted to stop by, spend a few moments with you. And of course, at other times I'll be back again.
Thank you so much. And for those of you who don't know, Mr. Kendall is with Tony Carknegel's office, the president of Cook County. So thank you so much for your time and for being here to share these things in person. Very important updates.
Well, I thought everyone knew me. My apologies. My name is Adolphus Kendall, Special Assistant with President Tony Carknegel, and I've been working with the president for about 30 years. So
just a little bit of time.
Just a little bit of time. And I grew up in Markham, so I am a resident of the Southland.
Thank you, and please tell the president hi, and we send our best wishes.
Thank you.
Next, I'm going to move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there anything anyone would like to hold off for discussion? Seeing none, Porter, would you please call the roll? Unless that clerk will gavel. Please go ahead.
Trustee Dagan.
Yes.
Trustee Dorsey.
Yes.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Trustee Mikros.
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Rogers.
Yes.
And motion passes.
Thank you so much. No specific reports of the committees, commissions, or board action items, so we're going to move on to regular action items. Can I get a motion to approve a request for a retail liquor license by R&J Wine and Gaming Incorporated for 19862 Kedzie Avenue?
So moved. Second.
Thank you so much. I've got Village Manager Wachtel, who will be presenting the item, and I'm here to discuss it or answer any questions that the board might have. I have Ronak Patel here, so you want to come on? Welcome. He is the owner of R&J Wine and Gaming.
Thank you, Mayor. The village's liquor code requires that each initial application be considered by the village board. No licenses are on the shelf and just available for application. Mr. Patel from R&J Wine and Gaming owns Cork Wine and Gaming in Flossmoor Commons. His current license is for consumption on premise from automated machines with a limitation of 25% retail in his establishment. The business also has video gaming on site. Mr. Patel has expressed interest in operating a liquor store in Flossmoor. There is an available space next door, and pending a liquor license from the village, the owners of Flossmoor Commons will negotiate a lease with Mr. Patel. The owners have provided documentation to that effect, which is included in the board's packet. Mr. Patel has gone back and forth regarding a separate liquor store and opening up both spaces inside by a shared doorway, in which case he would like to operate with one license. There are implications to both the building and fire code in each of these situations. Just this morning, Mr. Patel has shared some hand drawings of the liquor store with a shared doorway to the gaming venue. We have clarified with Mr. Patel that architectural drawings, including a floor plan, plumbing, electrical, etc., would be needed by our staff to further evaluate all the building and fire regulations that would need to be met. And of course, that would come following tonight's discussion and any decision by the village board. Staff has some reservations about combining the space into one with the shared doorway, given the on-site versus off-site consumption. What would stop someone from consuming on-site in the liquor store and conversely purchasing in the liquor store and bringing the packaged liquor into the video gaming establishment? While the village does not have a history of liquor stores, a retail packaged liquor license classification does exist. In fact, Meyer has one. If the board agrees to a liquor store next door as a separate business, the board could approve the license by a simple motion this evening. Mr. Patel would still have the building and fire code regulations he would need to meet following signing a lease. If the applicant is committed to opening the interior space and making one space with a shared doorway, a revision to the current license classification would need to occur. Mr. Patel would also need to conclude on the building modifications he would need to make to be compliant with code, working with our staff, in which case this item will need to return to the village board for further consideration of a new or revised liquor classification from what he has currently. Mr. Patel is here to make a presentation and answer any questions that you have, and that concludes my introductory comments. Also happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patel. Welcome. Thank you for wanting to expand and do more business here in the village of Flossmoor. I know that there was some confusion around the request, so I'll go around the dais and ask board members for their comments and let you address it. One thing that I wanted to know is, do the spaces have to be combined? Can they be two separate entities, or are you only interested in having the spaces combined?
So we're gonna just have a doorway, so and I want to operate that business under one license. since we already have the 25% retail allowed, so I want to make that 100% retail on the other side of the building. So, and also I'm already paying $3,000 license fee, so I don't want to have separate license, which gonna occur another, I guess, 1,000 or 1,500 for separate license. So we just want to have the doorway for going to the gating area.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm interested to hear what my fellow board members think. I don't know that we want to set a precedence with changing the license, meaning going from 25% to a greater percentage. To me, it seems like there's two separate businesses there, and as staff mentioned, there's a lot of concerns about folks taking packaged liquor that's supposed to be consumed off-premise into.
Oh yeah, no, that's not gonna happen, you know. It's strictly gonna be just for the gaming area, you know, the people gonna go for the gaming from that doorway to the gaming, you know, from liquor store area to the gaming area.
So they could take packaged goods from
No.
the liquor store into the
No,
gaming?
packaged liquor store is gonna be just for to take home or take out only. But
Would you have a problem operating two separate businesses?
no, I wouldn't have any problem to operate separate businesses, but just have just one or two employees to run the both businesses, you know.
Okay, I'll start with comments from trustee Mitros.
Okay, I approved this or made the motion based on two separate entities. So the doorway, like, I can see a lot of problems with the doorway. One or two employees means that at some point you're gonna have one employee where's he gonna be, on the liquor side or on the wine side? And I don't really like that. It just sets you and the village up for problems, I think.
Right. I mean, we can have a buzzer door, you know, if somebody can just go in.
Well, I don't like the thought of a vacant liquor store with a buzzer door, so, any rate, I would have to see more in terms of that. I'm here and ready to give you the license.
But yeah, if there is no problem, we can just have it as separate. There is no doorway.
Well,
And then-
personally, that would be my preference. And,
Right.
I know you run a fine liquor establishment over in
Mhm.
Homewood, and we would welcome you here. Hopefully not a lot of neon signs or anything.
Oh no, we're just gonna keep it simple. It's not that big. It's not gonna be big enough like the one we currently have. But just, I was thinking about, I've been there for like 3 years now, and next door neighbor comes in and out. We want to have some steady business, and I was thinking like there is no like a retail liquor store in Flossmoor,
There's none.
just a Meyer only, and that would be great for the community and,
I don't think it's a bad idea, and I certainly know that you're a good operator, so
Right.
I'm all in favor of it. I'm just having my reservations, so as it stands tonight, I'd be willing to, yay on the two separate establishments, but not really on the other.
And thank you. Trustee Mustafa.
So I'm hesitating a little because I'm trying to do a floor plan in my head while I'm talking, since you're going to bring that later. But what I'm thinking is about and please, I haven't been in a whole lot of liquor stores, but the liquor stores I've been in, it's not uncommon to see two rooms or two areas with an opening between the two sides. Like one side I've seen could be, soft drinks and not hard alcohol. The other side is something else. So I'm familiar with that concept. Are you willing to reconfigure your store so checkout is only in one area, and that anybody purchasing has to check out at the one spot? So you wouldn't have to have two employees with two checkout areas. And I would only be in favor of keeping the on-site consumption 25%, not any bigger. So even if somebody wanted to sneak and take packaged alcohol, there'd be nowhere to sit. You'd notice it right away. So
Right, yeah.
if you could configure it, in my mind, in a way that limits and controls the traffic flow in and out of the store, keeps the consumption in the same footprint, and minimizes the chance of, as Trustee Mitros alluded to, nobody's managing one side versus the other. If I could see that, it would be helpful to me. I'm in favor of you expanding.
Yes.
I'm just more concerned about the geography of the space and how you're going to manage two spaces. I'm in favor of an opening between if you can manage the flow of business. Okay?
Right, yeah, we can do that, like, you know, as I said, otherwise, if the village is approving just to have two separate businesses, that would be fine too. But I don't know, is it gonna consider under one liquor license, or I have to generate another one?
You'd have to do at least, make a
Yeah,
comment.
yeah, I've read through a lot of the documents. I do think it would have to be a separate liquor license. I'm gonna just jump in a little bit because I also have some concerns, and I will acknowledge I'm more of a special type of degenerate than probably most of the people here. So I would be one of those people who's jumping from back and forth, quite honestly. So I do have a concern regarding that, how you're going to do that. I think what Trustee Mustafa is talking about with some of the liquor stores, they'll have a special area for refrigerated goods, but that's part of the one thing. You're talking about having two separate businesses. Based on my reading of the code, I do think it would have to be two licensed. Let me preference this so you understand, I am not anti-you. I honestly don't care one way or the other. My job is just to make sure that the board is informed of what I think the requirements would be. So for my purposes, yes, if that's a separate, without the opening, I'm definitely not a big fan of the opening at all. It would be two separate businesses, meaning you would have to have a separate liquor license. I'm a little concerned, and I did see the sketch that you sent to the village manager either today or Friday. I got a chance to see it. I would actually want more drawings, and I think that would be helpful for the board if they're going to consider that. I have a problem because I could see the issue having one employee trying to monitor people going in and out of both sides. That's just me seeing that issue, but I do think, to answer your question, I do think it would require a separate liquor license for that.
Right, or we can just if we don't rent the next door, we can just have it in one space currently?
You're asking to have the liquor store and the one space that you currently have.
Right, yeah, because we are doing 25% sell anyway, we can just have,
I think we would have to look at, I think we'd have to amend the liquor license that you got under your code. So I don't think it's as simple as you think it would be. I guess, in theory, amending the license type, but that would require some other action as well, so.
Which we could do, we could pull forward and
Yeah.
see.
yeah, so we don't have to rent the next door space, and if we don't want to make it big anyway, so it's gonna be just,
You would eliminate the on-premise consumption though, correct?
it will.
So you would no longer be a wine bar, you would be a liquor store.
Right, and for having a video gaming, you need to have a pouring license.
Right, which you wouldn't have.
Right.
Yeah. And that, quite honestly, that may impact the village manager, that may impact the video gaming aspect as well.
Right, that's why I said.
Yeah, I think
You'll be better off just having the two separate entities.
I think you'd be better off the two, quite honestly. That's, just my perspective.
Trustee Rogers.
I think we kind of got down to the bottom of it because really it was the cost that you were concerned about paying for that second license. That's what I'm hearing.
Right, yeah, but we want to just have, second license. It's not big, it's not that much, but just, I just want to have everything. I don't have to do everything all over again with another business, because we already have everything with the current business.
But in a sense, you kind of.
And I saw one of my friend has that kind of liquor store in a New Lenox. So he just made a separate door to go into the gaming room. And that's how I came up with that idea.
No, I just was reiterating that it sounds like you still would need to get that second license though in order to run it the way you're trying to run it.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you, trustee Daniels.
Yes, I think I'm kind of in the same boat with some of the others here. The setting the precedent of changing the liquor license after it's been awarded, really the plan that you're asking for with the kind of one space, but not really one space for the sake of saving money on the liquor license, I'm not a fan of that. I also agree with the connecting door. It's going to operate like one, but it's a little much for me. And I think it changes the function of the first liquor license that we awarded. So from my perspective, I would rather see just bringing a plan for an additional business on a separate store, completely disconnected so that it's not muddying the waters. Because it seems like the door was just kind of a workaround to save on the cost of the additional liquor license. So to me, I think they should be separate, because then if an incident comes up with one or the other, we can consider them separately as opposed as together. So for me, I'd like to see a clean, just good architectural drawings on a separate store in that space next door, not connected. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, trustee Dorsey.
Well, I've learned years ago the hard way not to go against your attorney. So I'm absolutely in agreement with Attorney Miller, but the issue of even having it next door, there's really nothing that stops anyone from making a purchase in the purchase store and then just walking out of that one door and walking into the gaming store. So my question becomes, what do you have in place to actually prevent that from happening?
Well, we're gonna have the member inside that other store as well to look for that, that nobody's bringing anything to that gaming area.
And signage that
Signage, right? You cannot, yeah.
Right.
So
I think the way to go is actually to separate them, but even with having that separate door, that separate license, that separate entrance and exit, you're literally walking out one door going in the other. That is going to happen.
right, yeah, but we have those signage and everything. But right now, currently, we don't even allow anything to bring from outside to the gaming room. You have to purchase from the store.
Yeah, and even just to mitigate the risk of that, it's just cleaner.
Oh yeah, definitely, yes. It's cleaner.
I'm in favor of it in that format.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Lofton.
Mr. Patel, Ron, you've had a very successful business with your gaming and wine establishment. And your Homewood business has also been successful over the years.
Yes.
Being the first retail liquor store in Flossmoor, is going to carry a little bit of advantage. I would think you want to do whatever it takes to take advantage of that opportunity. You would be the first.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. But I have to ask the question, what was your intent with the door? Why did you want a door between the two establishments?
Oh, so just as I said, we don't want to do the whole process again for the licensing purposes, as well as just we have two employees can run the business. Now, if we have a separate, we need probably two at the liquor store and one at the wine bar. Cut down the cost.
For the reasons I said, I think you want to have that spot and be the first regardless. And if you do the same business here that you do in Flossmoor and Homewood, you'll be quite successful. We'd like to see you have it. So if I were you, I'd get that license, have a separate location, and take advantage.
Cool. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. It seems like a majority of the board would be in favor of your business as a two separate entities. Because of that, this is not something we can vote on tonight because it's different from the agenda items. So what I'm going to ask you to do is put some time into this, come back with a plan that shows exactly what you want to do.
This is the RMG. What's the name of the new place? I mean, is this the right address? I'm just curious.
What's this?
What's the name of the business?
Oh, the new business gonna be? Oh, we haven't decided the name yet. We just, it's gonna be just for the.
It's letter. to the address, but I think it's cleaner, I guess, for purposes of Mayor's point of maybe. You could do it, I do think I thought this was going to be, so R&J Wine Gaming is just the name of the parent company for the.
That's a corporation name.
Right,
The Corp Gaming and Wine Bar is the doing business name.
thank you. Okay, so that's the parent company for, you can vote, so long as this is the address, I guess.
19862, the new address.
My caution is that, I just wanted, I would kind of, under the preference that we have something, you know, I know you submitted the one drawing, and you're gonna have the 25% rule still, right? And I thought maybe that was going to be something that would be required, that they see, you know, whoever does for the 25%, but if that's been done in the past where we haven't seen it, then I'm okay with that since the address is right and that's the parent company.
The 25% relates to the other's license.
Okay, so
The
this one
at
would not-
19870, right?
Yes, 19862.
Would this not have the 25%?
It would not.
Okay, all right.
It would just be your straight
Straight
retail
retail liquor.
liquor.
Then I'm fine there with what you got going ahead and voting since we have the right address and that's the parent company. It's a little wonky, I admit, but you can vote.
Trustee Daggett?
Yeah, I would move to table until such time that we can get some more consistent drawings and a better sussed out plan. I would not be willing to vote on this tonight.
Okay, so there is a motion on the floor to table this item. Is there a second?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Trustee Daggett, would you be willing to add any more explanation to why you want it?
Sure, yeah. You know, anytime we consider a liquor license in the past, we've required good plans. We've had numerous individuals who have come in, whether in proper courts or others, where they brought a plan that we felt like wasn't complete. So we asked them to come back with a more complete plan. And to me, this change is not reflected in the plan that was presented before us. And I just don't want to vote on something I feel like is not complete. I'd like to see the work be done in order to have a more complete plan to make a judgment call on it.
Thank you.
Can I just say something? Since he's got to negotiate a lease and then put money into doing the plans, why don't we approve it conditionally on those two things? Would that be acceptable?
I mean, I'm probably going to vote no. If you guys choose to do that and forego the motion, that's fine.
Yeah,
Turn.
If I can add a comment, I think we need to be clear. Our last couple of discussions on liquor licenses, they have been tied to restaurants and eating establishments and new businesses in that regard. I want to be clear, the village board doesn't approve floor plans and meeting building codes. That all happens at a staff level. So here we're talking about a straight retail liquor store. We're not talking about, you know, what a menu is going to be or what a, you know, how much seating there's going to be or anything of that nature. So while we can bring that information back to you, it's your approval level is still at the level of interest to grant the liquor license or not what the floor plan looks like, not any of the building code requirements or fire code requirements. That'll all have to happen at the staff level. And to Trustee Mitros's point, Mr. Patel is going to have to invest in those architectural drawings, and I would imagine you'd want to invest in those knowing that
Before I know, I'm gonna get the
you're going to have a
approval.
liquor license.
Sure, and I can understand that. This is,
Just the motion, just.
Sorry, hold on. Can Trustee Daggett finish?
we're still approving the very first standalone liquor store in Flossmoor. And from my perspective, I should be dotted, T should be crossed. That's where I'm at, and the board may disagree with me, totally fine. No hard feelings if that's the case. That's just where I'm at.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to table this discussion. Is there a second?
Was there a second opinion of voting now and having in return, or is that off the table?
No, you can vote now. I do think, I saw the drawing today, and I was under the impression that what they were looking to do was more for this door and the connecting, and we have to be doing, but if not, and we're looking at a second license, because of the drawing aspect and knowing they have to go with village, and I understand where you're coming from, so don't trust me, I get it. Like if you're gonna spend money, you wanna know that you're gonna get it. But I kind of have the sense that you're willing to give it to them, but I'm just concerned What I don't wanna do is come here 2 months later and we find out, there's a little bit of a door here. And then I'm gonna and then I'm gonna just.
Not that you would do that,
Right.
but literally, that's the part that's not clean for me here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same.
Yeah,
Let's
and,
also be clear that we won't issue a liquor license until he has an occupancy permit for the space. So those floor plans and your direction to issue for a retail liquor license, that would be clear, and those floor plans would have to be approved by our building department, and a fire inspection would need to be done before he could even open.
Okay.
And then his administrative liquor license, he has to go through an administrative process too with both the village and the state. That would be the last thing that happened.
That makes me comfortable.
so my question on that is, but once we say yay or nay tonight, we're then out of the loop, correct? Because we've said yes, liquor license is given, so then it's up to you. I'm kind of standing by where I'm at.
I think you have to be comfortable with the concept of a liquor store, whatever that looks like.
Sure, and I'm not uncomfortable with that, but I don't know square footage, I don't know the size of the space, I don't know how much business they plan on doing, what, is there any?
It's in the business plan.
Okay, that's my comment, I misread that. If my motion to table doesn't pass, it's totally fine. I'm not like dying on my sword here.
So there's still a
So
motion.
there's a motion to table, is there a second?
No, there's a motion, there was no second.
There was no second.
But there was a motion with a second.
No, there was no second.
That's someone,
No.
No.
So I just made a motion.
No.
No, I'm saying that there was already a motion with a second.
Correct.
But
That one, there's no second, so.
Right.
That's what I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
So my motion
So,
fails.
is there a second on trustee Daggett's motion to table this? Okay, there is not. So back to the original motion to approve a retail liquor license by R&J Wine and Gaming Incorporated for 19862 Kedzie Avenue. That is what we're voting for. That is, or against, that is what is on the table currently. And if there's no more discussion, I'm going to ask Clerk Porter to call the roll.
Trustee Daggett.
No.
Trustee Dorsey.
Yes.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Trustee Mitros.
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Rogers.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Contact your office for next steps, or Mr. Butler?
That's fine. I think probably your next steps is going to be negotiating your lease, correct? And then certainly contacting Mr. Butler
Scott.
and the fire department with respect to fire inspection, no matter what, whether
We can have that done first.
Yeah, whether we have a
And,
connection between
business
two
plan.
businesses or not, we still need to have
A
a fire
floor plan.
inspection.
Can I make one final comment?
Sure.
I wish you nothing but the best. I hope much success, nothing personal. So I'm
Yeah,
looking
no
forward to
problem.
seeing what comes of it and coming in and seeing what you have. Cool. So
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. So just to be clear, two separate spaces. The license for the new portion is a separate license for retail packaged liquor to go.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do not need to go into executive session tonight, so I'm going to call for discussion items. I'll start with trustee Lofton.
No items except, this might be a good time, unless I missed it for us to have a revised list of phone numbers and information for our trustees, especially the trustees.
Yes, we are completing that. You will have that shortly.
That's my only comment.
Thank you. Trustee Dorsey.
Just wanted to follow up on where we were with, well, first of all, Jonathan, thank you for sending the November 2024 board meeting minutes on the campus, right? I think the numbers that were in the proposal at the time have changed.
Yeah, they're more in line with what the school district's cameras cost for too, because they account Heather Hill School is a little bit shorter, but there have to be electric run to go high in different points, including near the fence line. So it'd be closer to almost double the amount.
So, not to go into much detail, I'm still on the fence of a 100% necessity. And there were some same questions that I noticed in 2024 that we even presented for questions for discussion last board meeting. I think that discussion is still warranted. I'm still on the same as I said before. This should not, I can't justify this being a village sole cost. But not to discuss it at this table, wanted to make sure we had a process, because it seems that in 2024, there were 4 trustees that voted for further discussion. I think when we polled last board meeting, there were 5. Just want to make sure we're following the appropriate, or that as a new trustee, I'm not missing the protocol for how this thing gets to additional discussion.
Yeah, and at the last meeting, we discussed the need for the new trustees to kind of catch up and be able to digest all of that, and not to do
And that was
anything
really helpful.
prematurely. Also, some other discussions that we thought were going to happen didn't happen in another local board. So also interested in that feedback. And then Attorney Miller had some additional thoughts.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about that tonight because I know there were some emails and we had some emails over the weekend, and I saw the documents as well. I do have some liability concerns under what we call premises liability. So in regards to it, so after the meeting, I actually, unfortunately for the 2 ladies to my left, directly to my left, I cornered them about this basin because it was new to me. It was a new issue. Like, where is the basin? How deep is the water? What do we have there? I actually drove by the basin to see the basin. I just thought they actually, said you should go see it yourself, and I did. That doesn't sound good out there. So my concern is a few things. And number one, I asked the issue. My first thing was, what's the history here? Has this been an overriding problem where we've seen this become an issue a lot? I got the email or the report indicated about the 4 incidents. But also, number 2, for my purposes, is when you're talking, the assumption, at least in my mind, for this is that if you're going to have a camera, you're going to have it's going to be manned 24/7. And I still don't know how that would go through as far as being dispatched. I just have that concern in regards to, I think number 1, we would need to talk to your liability insurance carrier, which is IRMA, which is Illinois Risk Management. We would need to talk to them about what they see as the concern. I'm concerned about the idea of alerting something as a problem that maybe has not been a problem. Now, that doesn't mean, like, I get it, the concern is real. If you're someone there, because I assume the concern is that a child could maybe drown or something like that. That's what I'm assuming, just based on that. I didn't, so that was, so I definitely would recommend we talk with Irma in regards to that concern. There's obviously the idea of, like, use for, say, like ShotSpotter or something that they use in the city of Chicago. There's debate on how it works, but that goes directly to dispatch. I'm not aware, and I haven't had a chance to, John Kelly, who is the attorney for ECOM, which is her dispatch, he works with our office, but he does a 2-week jaunt with his grandkids and everything, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him actually because he's been gone this entire 2 weeks. So I do have the liability concerns in regards to it that I would want you to have an answer from them on what their thoughts on it are, because generally speaking, so my kids are older, but they went to schools that had things, and there wasn't, you have a fence there, so, which is more than, quite honestly, like in my town, what we have, and that doesn't mean that you can't do more, but that's just, the idea of the cameras gets me concerned. I'm always, as the lawyer, I'm always concerned about the liability aspect, and that's what I try to advise people on, is the liability aspect. So I am concerned about that.
you know, and working out those logistical, like, because if you're, the ideal, so the cost, you know, not only is the camera, but the cost is actually having someone, you know, being able to respond and what that looks like. Because if you have the cameras and then something happens and, you know, then you're going to get the lawsuit, well, you put the cameras up, you mean you don't have anyone responding? I don't trust AI, sorry, tech people, I just don't trust it. We have a lawsuit with a firm that did a brief by AI and the AI made up cases. We didn't do it, another firm did it, so that case is being dismissed, luckily for our client. So I just don't, the idea of what would happen kind of at all hours of the night is there no, I guess not, maybe not in the winter, it'll be iced over, or is it going to be, how many times it's going to be set off and how many times you're going to respond? It sounds like it wasn't that many, but I guess, are we going to be going out every time there maybe looks like a coyote, then you're going out for the problem, right?
The technology, again, I don't trust the AI either, but the technology says it can actually differentiate between an animal and a human.
Yeah, I guess my thing is that if it ends up being a human and the technology says it's coyote, we're still in court.
Yeah. No,
so that's my concern. Like, you can, just like I told Mr. Joe's not here, this is your decision, not Joe Miller's decision, all right? Just understand that, but if I don't tell you the liability concerns, then you're calling me when you get a lawsuit saying, why didn't you tell me that this is a possibility?
So we will, once you circle back with all those folks, you'll provide an update for the board?
Yeah, I will, I'm hoping to hear back from Margo, who's the head of IRMA, and I know her well, to see if they have this, this situation before, have they done this before? I mean, they're a large agency, they're out the state, and what their response is to it. I don't want you guys to pay a ton of money for Joe Miller to do all of the research when they're the one who's paying for the insurance. Now, if you want Joe Miller to do all of the research, Joe Miller will do all of the research. Your clerk's an attorney, so we understand that. But my thought process is let the people who would be covering you tell us what they want and everything. And, I apologize that I wasn't able to, I did reach out. I just haven't gotten a response yet, but, also it's kind of that time of year. But I've unfortunately asked a lot of people, Jonathan, the mayor, Bridget, a lot of questions about this basin because I just wanted to get a handle. And then I got an email this weekend, and it's valid, so that's why I wanted to bring it up tonight. So.
Thank you. Trustee Daniel.
So I'll weigh in on that a little bit. For all intents and purposes, it's not an official discussion item, but it's kind of our second meeting talking about it. So I'll just kind of state my position on the discussion. Totally not opposed to having a discussion. I just want to make sure we have as much information as we need to make an informed decision on it. So the concerns that you guys are talking about tonight, I think also having the school board have their discussion, because it's a non-starter if they're not willing to do it, because we have to have them to do it. Another thing is, I've been making trips past the basin, and we've had two significant rainstorms, including one that flooded a little bit of the downtown area, and there was 30 minutes after the storm, there was nothing in there yet. So it's handling everything from Berry Lane. And so to me, I don't think there's a major rush to have this discussion and make decisions on it. There's just more information that I'd like to see. I'm also curious to see what's it going to look like after we connect the viaduct. Maybe we go down there and there's not even enough to, I don't know. We're just going to see how it operates. I know the engineers have told us what it's going to be, but I kind of expected some stuff to be there from Berry Lane, and it wasn't. So I just think we have incomplete information to have a full, informed, official discussion to make a decision on whether we move forward or not. Yeah, I'm not opposed to having a discussion at all. That's just where I stand.
Thank you. Trustee Rogers.
Actually, yeah. I did want to just give a shout out. Baxter and Woodman has a representative. What is his name again? Dennis. Who's overseeing for us the downtown project. And when some rain came in last week, a couple of the basements were getting some water. He was staying as late as he had to make sure that it wasn't their thing, and anything that was or might have been that they would take care of. He was fantastic, engaging with all of the business owners down there who were having issues. He took a shovel in hand to make sure the little area was draining. So we have some very good representation from him. I also know that there was a couple of issues Very early on, they were expressed to him, and they handled it right away. So the business owners that I've talked to have been very happy with Baxter Woodman's response and the process and progress of they're hitting their targets like they told us. So just a shout out to him. If you guys see him again, let him know. I'm very grateful for it. If I don't run into him, I'll tell him myself if I do. But I just think that was a testament to Baxter Woodman and the relationship we have with him. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Trustee Rogers.
Yeah, I just gonna go back to the detention basin. I think for me, two things that were stated by legal counsel is that the concern is liability. And for me, liability works both ways. If we don't do it, what's the liability? And if we do it, what's the liability? I think I'm more on the fence of if we don't do it, and we already don't know the full capacity of what the basin can do because we're still in phases right now. Right now, everything is unknown. So, do we leave the unknown to be our decision maker to determine if we're going to have an extra measure to keep kids safe? Because this isn't a normal detention basin. We have one down the street from Heather Hill. Doesn't have a fence, but that's a small flat land. This isn't the same. This is something completely different. So for me, the concern is, where is the risk assessment? We don't have one, so we don't know. We don't know what the capacity of the detention basin is. We just have estimates. And until we have those, I don't think we should make a decision not to do it because then we're putting people at risk because that's also a liability. So liability works both ways. If we don't do it, what's the liability? And if we do it, what's the liability? So I think we're in the same place. And as far as financially, when we deal with these risk zones, and I would consider myself one because I am a public health professional, that's going to cost us almost about the same amount of money that we're talking about spending for these cameras. So the question is, are we going to spend money for the risk assessment from the organization and then spend extra money for the cameras if they tell us that we need them? Because the best practices for a large detention basin like that does say the fence and the camera. So that's really my take on whether or not we do detention basin is what are the precaution measures that we're going to take because we don't know right now. Everything's unknown for us. So that's my concern. And that's what I've been hearing from the community members that live in Heather Hill, that have children that go to the schools, and that's the reason this keeps coming up. The second thing that I wanted to ask about is just to follow up for the community members about the food trucks. You know, we said we were going to do a survey, and I think that they deserve to know what our follow-up was if we did the complete follow-up, and what we plan to do moving forward, because that's something that I was still a concern of mine, because I like to close things out when we said we're going to do something. Let's give the community members the responses that they requested. So that's kind of what I recommend to the issue.
Thank you. Do you have a site or a source for the recommendation that you mentioned that says that we should have a fence and a camera?
Yeah, you can go to the Environmental Protection Agency.
Could you send that to me, please? That would be great. And then as far as the food trucks, the board in general was not in favor of having them in residential streets or in the downtown area. And there are several business owners that were also not in favor of having them in the downtown business district. I believe the village manager Wachtell sent out an update on Flossmoor Commons that while they appreciated her reaching out and asking about food trucks, they weren't interested in having them there either. But what we were able to do is accommodate folks at some of our events here in the village. For example, the back to school event that's at the end of the month, and also Oktoberfest.
But I remember that we also had a discussion about some, and I could be wrong in my quote, but I remember us having a discussion about different I guess what you call them, zoning areas. We were talking about zones where we could possibly host food truck events, and that was an update that I didn't feel that I received.
And the location that the board was not in favor of doing them on residential streets, so that would be any of our parks. Our parks are all in residential districts. And then the only other place was Flossmoor Commons area, parking lot. And the owners of Flossmoor Commons were in favor of that as well.
Can I make one comment? I might be mistaken, but colors work. I remember there was a map that we put up and the zones were in various colors. And I thought we talked about a couple of different colors, right? I don't know if they're all within that Flossmoor Commons area, but I remember who actually did the presentation, that I just thought there were more potential color zones than just Flossmoor Commons. I might be mistaken this was something.
The only other one would be Meyer, and Meyer has outlots that they control and negotiate with their end users. And because they have food establishments on those outlots, I do not see them including mobile food vendors on their parcel that they operate. They have very strict no food clause in how they negotiate those outlet agreements. So I cannot imagine that they would violate their own practice by permitting mobile food vendors within their own site. So they're a little bit different than Flossmoor Commons setup. I also, while I have the mic, I want to point out that I've been informed a very large thunderstorm cell is about to hit 10 minutes or less. And that could be even worse. So I know there's a lot of important discussion happening, but I also want to make sure that people have an opportunity to get home safely.
Dismiss any staff that aren't needed? Any staff that's not needed, I don't think. Now is your time to exit, please.
Yeah, you're all welcome to leave. Please be careful driving.
Thank you. Trustee Mustafa.
Especially due to the weather, I won't belabor the topic. And the other trustees have brought up any of the concerns I have about the discussion. I do want to thank the Mayor and Village District for facilitating or giving us space to talk this evening. I also request, if possible, that however we document our concerns, that we document them in a way that we know we're going to come back and follow up. For example, we don't know the pattern of weather. We don't know over time what the basin will do. We have high expectations, but as Trustee Rogers said, it's really too soon. So if there's some things that we can circle back and look at, depth of stormwater incidents of children or beings in the basement, times when teachers notice something, and then circle back around in 60 days or 90 days and see, because all of us have been involved in problem solving, and we know that we have to establish somewhat of a baseline, even if it's fuzzy, and say, we're noticing not a problem, it's consistent, it's not a concern, or it's way above that, way below that, we can keep coming back. And so that's what I asked. I have no idea what the final answer should be on cameras, but I do know that there's risk not having them and risks having them. I don't believe we have enough evidence to say absolutely no camera. That's just what I say.
But the same fact, we have no evidence to say absolutely yes.
Yes, exactly. And I don't think the board's discussion should be predicated on whether the school board told us. We as a village represent the residents, and the residents have voiced concerns.
Thank you, and I think that's a good point. Village Manager Wachtel, you connect with Dr. Smith, the superintendent, and ask him to ask the teachers if they notice any issues.
At the start of the school year?
Correct.
Okay. Just a reminder, 161 doesn't start until August 25th. So they're a little bit later this year due to the construction that they're doing at the school itself. But we certainly can seek some feedback about
Thank you so much. Trustee Maestros.
Someone I think mentioned that the best practices were offense and video. I'd like to see that report. I think it would be helpful to me. But every day that a kid gets up, puts his shoes on, pants, walks across the street, there's a liability there. There's no one there to protect him. He has to use some common sense. And hurdling a 6-foot fence and then getting into a detention pond that was modeled by an engineering company, they would have to have some liability there too. They have a lot of insurance. They would never design something that would be dangerous. I don't mind discussing it. We can discuss it for as long as everyone wants to discuss it. But in the conversation, we would be short-sighted if we did it now and include Levitt Avenue. If there's a fence over there, we need a fence at Levitt Avenue. Because for at least that I can see, and I've been by there after heavy rain, and I've been by Levitt, there was a lot more water in Levitt than there was at Heather Hill. So these are just things that I think that we have to consider. Every detention pond in Flossmoor, if the new standard is a 6-foot fence and video or cameras, then it's got to be at every detention pond. Or we're being short-sighted, we're fooling ourselves. So those are my comments. And I'll talk as long as anyone wants to talk, but you can't protect everyone against everything all the time. You just can't do it. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Clerk Porter.
Thank you.
Village Attorney.
Probably spoken enough. And I apologize for hijacking that everything, but I spoke enough.
Village Manager.
I'll be brief, but I feel it's important to kind of echo my trustee's comments about the fact that the basin was modeled, and kind of like Attorney Miller said earlier, these aren't Bridget Walkable decisions. So, at the end of the day, my job and the staff's job is to present you with information, pros and cons, and factors to consider, and you get to make those decisions as a village board. But I do want to clarify that, in designing this solution, a lot of engineering modeling went into how much capacity that the basin could hold under what levels of flooding. So if we obviously have that information, if anybody needs to revisit that as part of this discussion, we can certainly present that again. So I won't keep anybody any longer, but I felt that important to say, so thank you.
Thank you. A couple quick reminders. Back to school Friday, August 29th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Flossmoor Park. Please join us there to meet a lot of great kiddos and families. Hidden Gem Half Marathon is September 6th. Race starts at 7:30, and I'm looking forward to seeing Trustee Lofton out by the DJ stand on the corner.
I didn't get my sign.
Well, I'll reach back out to them and ask them. Okay. The new software that we are implementing, I like that the strategic plan is pointed to at each item, so thank you so much for getting that up and running. Shop local, everybody pick up your cards, and also the next meeting, which would normally be scheduled for September 1st, is Labor Day. So we will not have that meeting. The next meeting for the village board will be September 15th. Have a safe and happy Labor Day weekend, and please be careful going home tonight. Thank you.
I'm just gonna say.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?